God Built This Podcast, PODMAS edition. I am your host, Maxine, and we're on episode 7. Let's talk about this reality show called Back in the Groove. That's on Hulu. I haven't finished it yet. And it's a very interesting concept. Now, if you guys remember the movie How Stella Got Her Groove Back, one of those many back-to-back black movies from the late 90s, early 2000s, this is one of the other movies, and it features Taye Diggs and Angela Bassett, as well as Whoopi Goldberg. And the storyline for this movie is about Angela Bassett, years post her divorce, wanting to just dive into her femininity more. She was just an avid professional working in her career, and she finally takes this trip to Jamaica, in which she comes across Taye Diggs' character, who is this young, vibrant Jamaican. And he's visibly much younger than she is, hence the title of this movie, How She Got Her Groove Back. So Stella is Angela Bassett, and Groove represents Taye Diggs' character, because the idea is younger men could help older women get their groove back. Let me say it again. Younger men, that's the perception, that younger men can help older women feel relaxed, feel energetic. You know, they have all the energy in the world to keep up with maybe your libido, or they could introduce you to new sexual adventures that you may not have experienced previous to this man. And that's the idea. So, of course, there's this lust factor between both characters, but eventually the lust grows into love, and they face some external factors that come in play because people are not always receptive or accepting to an older woman dating a younger man. So there's a particular scene in which Angela Bassett's character, she meets Taye Diggs' character's mom, and she's the same age as the mother, same age, looks similar too, to be honest. And this is a little awkward. The mom is not at all approving at all of her son dating this older woman. Like, what are you doing? Do you know how old is she? She's basically my generation, or is my generation. So she's disapproving of it. Stella feels uncomfortable. This is spoiler alert in case you haven't watched How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I'm definitely spoiling for you. But it's a good movie. I mean, it's a good movie for what it was. But I think if we look beyond the scope of this just being like a fun, romantic movie, they ended up, anyway, the ending is a happy one, because they end up choosing each other despite the naysayers, despite people putting forth their negative thoughts and ideas of what a woman of her age, of Stella's age, to be with such a young man. Now, look, I think age is such an interesting concept, and, it is a factual thing, right? Age is not just, I hate the whole approach people like to have about age is nothing but a number. No, it is a number. It does represent some things, right? Not to say that because you're a particular age, you can't be a particular way, right? We're all individuals at the end of the day. I mean, some of us are just very much like clowns, right? Like you are the stereotype. But for the most part, we all are our own person, and our age shouldn't prohibit us from experiences, from relationships, etc. Of course, as long as it's consenting and legal, right? But I think, I don't know. I feel like this idea of cougars, quote unquote, and I think that's now an offensive term, but I'm still going to say it right now. I think the idea of cougars dating younger men is played out. I feel like enough is enough, right? Like, enough. Like, you can't convince me that a younger man is where it's at. And technically, I'm not necessarily of a particular age to qualify as a cougar, but, younger men is still younger, right, than my age. And when I did have the experience of dating a younger man 2 or 3 years ago at this point, I felt like this was the worst idea yet. Like, I guess I'm just a different type of woman. I'm a different type of breed, I guess. But dating that younger man, Church Bay, if you guys remember, was just not a pleasurable experience. Like, it was just dating a child. It was dating someone who had nothing in his brain, no ideas, no curiosities, no individual thought. He was very sheepish in his mindset, in his ideologies. And one thing about me is we back to episode 1 of PODMAS. No, but seriously, one thing about me is I can't stand a sheepish ass nigga. Okay, I can't stand someone who has no ideas, no individuality, no independent thought, just go on with the get along, who is just a punk. Like, you're just a punk. You are just a punk at this point. And I just feel like you're a waste of a man. And I don't want to even continue to go so down on that guy in particular. But I see other examples of men who haven't really tapped into their masculinity. Men who are physically a man, right? Biologically a man, but they're not men. Like, they haven't really accepted their role as a man. And men, I've said this many times now, men in today's society right now in America are being attacked because they're not encouraged to be their natural predator self. That's a joke. I had to say that. But when I say predator, I mean, like, I'm not saying rapist type of shit. I'm not trigger. No, what I'm saying is men naturally, biologically, are more aggressive and are more filled with testosterone. They do have testosterone while women have estrogen. And when I see a man who, let's just be very, I'm talking about heterosexual men. Let's just be very specific to that. When I see heterosexual men not have enough testosterone and have more estrogen in the way that they operate, right? Just in their speech, in their mannerisms, in the way that they just converse. Like, it's just like, you're a waste. You're a waste. You've wasted this manness. Like, you wasted yourself. And I just find it to be I find it disrespectful. I'm disrespected because I feel like, as a woman, if I'm in the presence of men, you should be immediately the protector. I shouldn't have to feel like, well, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and figure it out. Right? I'm going to go ahead and figure it out. And I think, regardless of your age, your masculinity should still be intact, right? Like, you being 25 shouldn't mean that you're less of a man than someone who's 45, right? Yes, you have years of between y'all, that's a gap. But what you share in common is your manhood, right? Or your masculinity at the very least. Now, maybe your manhood at 45 is different than, of course, someone who's 25 than a man who's 25. But nonetheless, you both are still men. And at the very least, Both of you should still have the same mindset when it comes to being a protector, being a provider, being someone who is confident and assertive. And, maybe your confidence is not as strong as someone who's 45 and you're 25. Sure, I get that. But at the very least, nigga, like, be a fucking rah-rah. Like, rah-rah. Do that. And unfortunately, when you have cougars dating younger men, they don't have that rah-rah. Most of them don't. There are some who are. And you could tell those men who have that rah-rah energy, you could tell they were raised correctly. They were raised right by real men. And the ones who don't have that rah-rah energy are super politically fucking correct. They were raised by, I'm about to say something else, but they were raised by non-original men, okay? Unoriginal men. And they're just like pussies. Just fucking pussies. So I just, I don't think there's this thrill or attraction or engagement that I can co-sign with when it comes to older women dating younger men. Because at the very least, a woman is a woman and a man is a man, even in 2022, okay? And I think a woman should still be, if she's heterosexual and she's dating a heterosexual man, she should still be in a company of a man whom will be the provider, the protector, the holder of the relationship. And a lot of these younger men are bitch ass niggas. Hello, is the mic on? Do y'all hear me out there? A lot of these younger men are bitch ass niggas. Like, I just don't. So I just feel like, you being an older woman, don't you still want to be protected? And I get it, like, I'm making so much money. I'm the executive X, Y, and Z. I'm the chief holder of this, or whatever fancy title you have. And you feel like that is the protection that you have. That's the armor, right? Oh, well, because I'm making six figures now, that's the armor that I need. No, that may be the financial armor you have, but the physical armor, right? If we're in an alley, we're walking down the street, and the man next to you is 25 and he has no muscles on, he hasn't learned how to eat right yet, he is very sheepish in his ideologies, in his way of moving, this nigga's gonna protect you? Is this nigga gonna protect you? Like, no, he's not. Anyway, there's a show on Hulu called Back in the Groove. And you have 3 older women who are interested in dating younger men. These men are in their 20s. Some of them are 22. Like, girl, these men just got born. They just got born. They just got pushed into this world. And you want to date him and you're 45? Some of these women are 45, 46. So I'm like, okay. Now you may wonder, well, maybe they're just like, they just want some fun, just want to fuck, whatever, and, have your fun, sure. But eventually feelings will arise, and eventually these women will expect these younger men to be in a position that older men are in, rather than these younger men. You would expect that. And I just find it so, I just find it so strange to want to date younger. So this show, spoiler alert, and I haven't finished yet, but I'm gonna spoil just what took place in the first 2 or 3 episodes. There's, I want to say this is an Oedipus complex, but it's with a twist, okay? Now, Oedipus, if you guys remember this Greek tale that we were all forced to read in high school of a son being in love with his mother, and I don't remember exactly the details, but I think the mother may have went there with her son. So, okay. But, Greek times, back in the day, unfortunately, incest was a thing of the norm. And, having sex with children was a thing of the norm, unfortunately, back in the day. It was just a part of the culture. So this text kind of makes sense for what it described from this particular culture and time period. So the Oedipus culture, for those who may not be familiar, is when it's when the complex of emotions aroused in a young child, typically around the age of 4, by an unconscious sexual desire for the parent of the opposite sex, and wish to exclude the parent of the same sex. So looking at it from, the young boy who is in love and infatuated and sexually aroused by his mother, he sees his mother in this particular way, while he sees his father as a threat, right? The father, who he shares the same sex with, is someone who is in the way of his desire for his mother. Like, it's so disgusting. But that's what an Oedipus complex is. And now the flip version of that is Electra complex, which I just didn't know. I didn't know the name for that, but I know that's a real thing. If there's a boy version, then there has to be a girl version. So Electra complex is literally the same thing, but just for girls. So girls being sexually aroused and have this unconscious desire for the parent of the opposite sex, and they wish to exclude the parent of the same sex. And I kind of want to reference something that comes off lighthearted, and yeah, so I want to reference something that comes off a little lighthearted. So when you think about young babies, right? And how the baby girl of the parents, she is more in love with the dad. Like, oh, I want to be with dad. And when the mom, and the baby's probably like maybe 3. And when the mom is hugging the dad or trying to show affection to the dad, naturally, because that's the romantic partner here, the baby girl will feel upset and jealous jealous of the mother being affectionate with the dad. Now, I've seen this happen many times throughout my life, and it's seen as this lighthearted thing, and I feel like what's interesting about that is we like to not make things a big deal, right? We like to just say, it's nothing. Just, this is so cute. It's so cute. Like, even when, like, for example, the young boy who's like 6, 7, and he's so cute, all the girls love him. Like, he's just a lovable, cute little boy. And then the comment that is said to him is, oh, he's going to be a heartbreaker. Ooh, he's going to be a heartbreaker. Oh, he's going to break all the girls' heart. And it's said with such a happy tone. And it's like, wait, what are we saying? Like, why are we proud or emphasizing that this young child is going to break hearts of many? Like, why are we encouraging such behavior? And the baby girl, why are we okay with her wanting to be so close to the dad that she finds the mother a threat whenever the mom is affectionate or even sits close, trying to cuddle with the father? Now it's like, what do you tell the 3-year-old? Don't, like, I mean, yes, there's a way you could communicate to a 3-year-old, of course. Like, there's always ways you could amend your communication according to how old the child is. But I think that's just something to note, like, okay, how come this child is being more affectionate or exclusionary towards me and, affectionate to the dad? It's just interesting. So these are complexes. And now, where do they come from? Maybe just a natural, innate human desire. Like, what? Because, like, does a baby know this is my father, right? Does a baby know this is my mother? I don't think a baby knows that. I just think a baby sees, oh, this human being is my caregiver. This human being will nurse me, will give me her breast, and I will suck on it because I'm hungry, and this is food. This is my nourishment. And the dads, like, they don't necessarily have a biological nurturing role as much as the mother does. Not to say that fathers don't have a strong role in the child's life. I don't want to disregard that, but I think there's this the baby feels like they know they have to survive, and they survive off of the woman's breast. And the father's presence here is more of this added thing, like, oh, look at this man here. I don't know, man. I'm trying to like gauge what could be the thought process, so I'm literally thinking this out loud. I haven't really gone on a deep dive. I'm just going off of the top right now, but I think there's something to that. I think maybe the baby just sees the mother. Okay, I know the mom has these breasts. I gotta suck on these breasts to live. I'm hungry. I want a snack. Give me your boobs, right? And the dad is there for comfort as well, for, I don't know, you just feel this like connection with the father too, but you don't go to the father for his breasts, right? You go to the mom. So again, I think there's this we don't create these roles until it's time to create them, right? Until you realize, oh, this is my dad or this is my mom. I should not have sexual feelings for this parent. Like, you know what I mean? But am I like, I'm trying to just make sure. I feel like I'm coming off like I'm like condoning this. I'm not. I'm just saying we don't know what we know now, right? Like, we don't know. It just hit me that I feel like I'm coming off like I'm okay with, Oedipus as culture. I'm not. I'm just saying, naturally, we don't know that, right? We just know what feels good, right? Just on a humanity level, right? We know we need to eat. We know we know pleasure. We know we need to sleep, right? Like, those are the three things that really is all that makes up a human being, an animal, right? Pleasure, hunger, sleep. Pleasure, hunger, sleep. Now, until we become, as we grow into our humanity, we realize, oh, we shouldn't rape. Oh, we shouldn't have sex with our family members. Oh, we should. This is a wild episode, huh? I'm sorry. I did not mean to get to this. I'm going to wrap it up. But we don't get there until we get there. So, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, this show is called Back in the Groove. I didn't know I was going to go down that road the way that I did. But hey, this is off the cusp. I'm not reading a script. This is off the cusp. Humanity. It's a joke. Yeah, so anyway, it's an interesting show. There's okay, so the twist is, spoiler, the twist is there's a son. One of the ladies' son is on the show. And obviously the son is not dating his mom. Or is he? Ooh, humanity, huh? No, I'm kidding. The son is not dating his mom. But the son of one of the women is on the show. And I guess his purpose was to just be a lookout for his mom. Because apparently his mom describes their relationship as, he's my best friend. Which I just feel like, okay, I never understood when parents say that. Maybe I'm just not there yet. So maybe I'll get there and I'll be like, oh my, she is my best friend. But like, is that reciprocal? I don't know. Anyway, so she describes the relationship as, he's my best friend and he's seen me at my worst and he's been there, all these things. And so it looks like his role is to be a spy, is to be the one who makes sure his mom is safe and is making the right decision, all these things. Naturally, he is dating some of the other women, and he is actually vibing well with one of the other women on the show. And I just feel like it's just all weird. Like, it's just weird to me. I just think it's weird to, I don't know, like, why are you just, like, in this type of space with your mom? I know you're both an adult, and he's 22. Like, he barely became an adult. But nonetheless, I just feel like, when does the line draw? Like, when do you say enough is enough? Because there may be an episode and a scene in which his mom is, because his mom is, she's really vibing well with one of the other men, young men. Let me make that very clear. One of the other young men, and there may be a scene in which not only are they kissing, but he's filling her up. They have sex, and then it becomes a thing, right? And then naturally, he may want to go and share that information with one of the guys at the very least. And then maybe the conversation becomes bigger than he want, and now everyone knows, or a lot of people know, including the son. And now your son is aware that, oh, my mom, and obviously he knows his mom have sex. His mom is a grown woman, but like, to know that you're just in this proximity, I just find it to be a little cringe. So that's why I say it's an Oedipus complex with a twist, right? Like, the son is so heavily involved with how the mother is just dating, and I just feel like that is inappropriate to me. Like, I don't think it's okay to really parade around multiple men and think that it's okay in front of your son. I don't know. Maybe I'm being prudish right now, but I just find it to be a little strange. I don't really condone that. But look, maybe it's just for the fucking show. So God bless, and we'll see how that show turns out. But so far, it's interesting. It's one of those regular, if you guys watch Love Island or even F-Boy Island, it's literally the same aesthetic. It's actually pretty like weird. Like, oh my gosh, is this the same producer? But it's the same aesthetic, same type of concept. It's not as raunchy as Love Island. You know how Love Island, there would be, Monique is her name, Freckles Bay. Remember we talked about, what was her name, the black girl? Yeah, her name is Monique. It just came to my mind. I think it's Monique. Yeah. So yeah, it's the same concept, but you know how Love Island would be very, what's the word, raunchy. They would literally have the contestant all kiss each other in a line. Like, after Joe kisses Susan, Joe right next to Susan kisses Amanda, then Joe would kiss then Rebecca, and then like it's literally right back to back, and I just find it to be a little disgusting. So ooh. But yeah, Back in the Groove on Hulu, check it out, and it's hosted by Taye Diggs, so it's like a nice, all together now moment, and Taye Diggs is, Taye Diggs. Let's talk about brain damage real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. So I've been coming across different, let's say, cases. Yeah, different criminal cases in which the one who is being accused of said crime, he or she is claiming to have had brain damage, and that is the reason for their actions. Now, I'm wondering, like, is this a justifiable defense? I came across a video on YouTube in which this lawyer was talking about a case of this man who kept on watching child pornography. And I'm just gonna reference it as CP moving forward, but I said what it means. So he kept on watching it, and he finally got caught. People, you could track the IP address, whatever. And every time he got caught, he claimed that, I don't know what comes over me. I don't mean to do it. It becomes this impulse. Like, he has to do it. Like, there's no other choice. He needs to go do it right now. But the caveat is he knows when to do it, right? Like when he's at work, he doesn't go online to look at CP. He looks at it when he's at home. So it's like, okay, you have enough brain to know when to look at it and where to look at it, but you don't have enough brain to just not look at it at all. Anyway, he finally gets busted. He gets caught. They decide to give him a CT scan, and come to find out he had a huge tumor in his brain. And apparently, she's so funny. What was I gonna say? A tumor in his brain. And apparently, the placement of the tumor is right at the prefrontal lobe. And if you learn about the prefrontal lobe, it is the area in your brain that really makes you make wise decisions. It also makes you like realize like your impulses, your control, stuff like that. Now, hold on. Let me just look that up to make sure I'm saying it correctly. So, so the prefrontal cortex, it modulates your cognitive control, thereby influencing your attention, your impulse inhibition, your perspective memory, and your cognitive flexibility. Now, nowhere in there does it say you are attracted to CP, right? Like, where does it say that? But I don't know, like when is enough? Like, when do you realize, nah, I'm fucked up, right? Or this is something that's outside of my control. Like, I don't know. But I guess maybe something about the whole impulse inhibition part of the PFC, your prefrontal cortex, is enough to blame it on, right? Like, it's enough to blame it on, and it's enough for you to realize, like, yeah, I'm fucked, right? I'm fucked. There's this thing in my brain that is making me do something that I don't want to do, yet I am aware not to do it when I'm at work. So I don't know what to say about that. And apparently with tumors, they grow back. So he served a little bit of time, but he eventually got let out. Fudge. I think I scratched myself too hard. So he knew not to do it when he's at work. Anyway, so he got let out because the defense really proved that it was out of his control. And it come to find out he got surgery. They removed the tumor, but just like with anything, with a tumor, with a cyst, it could come back. Like, it could grow back. It's a wild thing, but it could really just come back. And that's what it did. So he ended up looking at CP again, and then they give him another CT scan. Boom. What did they see in his brain? Another tumor. This nigga is fucked. You know, so like, what do you do at that point? Like, are you just defected? Like, are you just like, should you just stay in jail, in prison? Like, should you, like, I don't know, because if it keeps on growing back, that means you will always be a victim to this behavior. Now, it doesn't say that he necessarily harmed anyone, but, you know, it could escalate into that. And I believe he does have children and a wife. So, child, who knows? But nonetheless, I think brain damage is such an interesting concept and defense that one could use. Like, and I do understand the fact that some things you can't control, right? It just literally is in your brain or is a part of your biology. But when does it become a matter of science or a matter of free will? Who knows? So I'm going to go ahead and end it here, you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I will check in with you guys next time. Peace.